presenting the President of the United States.
Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, members of the Senate and House of Representatives, yesterday, November 2nd, 1876, a date that will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by forces of former President Scrabs. His attack left the federal government weakened, but our resolve has never been stronger. I remember that day very clearly. I remember being woken up to what was basically a terrorist attack at the time, and during that time I was incapacitated, and without a vice president, nobody could really take control. So in reality, it was really just complete chaos, and it was an absolute horrid day for the country at all. In November of 1876, the United States experienced the worst terrorist attack in its history. But let's travel back exactly 1 year earlier, November 1875. The word reaches the American people that President Landon Norris has been shot and is in critical condition. Within 12 hours of being shot, the president was declared dead in a hospital in Dallas, Texas. The American people were mourning their president. Within an hour, Vice President Wilson, upon the death of President Norris, was sworn in at the White House. On the morning of November 2nd, 1876, citizens of the United States woke up to be what was a broken society. The federal government had been left in shatters. The President of the United States had been incapacitated. The Library of Congress was a mess. And this could all have been pinpointed back to former President Scrabs, who used a private military force to overthrow the government for a short period of time. If it wasn't for the American heroes, Associate Justice Rubin of the Great Lakes and former President Arathorn, and of course, Senator from Washington State, SayerQT, the nation would have been left in shambles for much more longer than it should have. Because of the efforts of these three individuals within the United States government, peace was allowed to return quickly, and very soon the nation would be on the brink of rebuilding itself to be an arsenal of democracy once again. When President Henry Wilson was able to perform his duties once again, he held a State of the Union at the United States Capitol, where he declared in his most famous speech, November 2nd, 1876, a date that will live in infamy. The nation was deliberately attacked by the former President Scrabs, and that he left the federal government in a weakened state, but their resolve will always be stronger. Later on in his speech, he declared that the United States would always be an arsenal of democracy and would always stand up against tyranny and authoritarianism. The president would later on lose the 1876 election despite his popularity after the attack. But even though he lost, he never, ever forgot. I will never forget that day, ever, for the rest of my life. That was the most horrifying day in American history. And if it wasn't for the three American patriots that helped save us that day, I wouldn't be standing here right now. I just have to say thank you, because that attack, it made me realize that we must protect not only ourselves, but our allies. We must protect all those who are affected by authoritarianism. The efforts of then Associate Justice Rubin of the Great Lakes were most notable out of all three who participated in rebuilding America after the attacks. Rubin was one of the first responders against Scrabs' attacks. He was immediate to unban everyone who was banned, and he tried his absolute hardest to make sure that all laws were put back in place. He re-updated everything. He remade everything. If it wasn't for Associate Justice Rubin, the United States would have possibly been left in a dark place for a longer time. By the end of the day, everything was restored. Peace was restored in the nation. Everything is as it once was, but now there was a visible scar left on the United States federal government. although our democracy had been attacked, although we had been threatened at losing our liberties, we pulled through as a nation, and together we came out on top, and we will forever be thankful to all those who helped us on that day, and we will forever be thankful